Teyana Taylor and Chris Brown went from being the ultimate Hollywood besties to getting into one of the messiest fights we've seen in a long time. It gets worse because sources claim that Chris absolutely hates Teyana's guts and wants nothing to do with her. And if you're wondering what happened, Teyana herself is spilling all the messy tea on what really happened. Y'all know how they say, what goes around comes around? Yeah, our girl Teyana Taylor is learning that the hard way because her good friend, Chris Brown, just turned on her and started hating on her in public. I hate to say this, but it's really not that surprising because, well, Chris doesn't exactly have the best track record when it comes to women, and he has been called out so many times that it's hard to keep track of them all. For those who don't know, Chris and Teyana go way back because they have been friends for more than 15 years at this point. They've always shown love to each other, and she was one of the very few celebs who stuck by his side after his 2009 DV incident with Rihanna. This showed how much Teyana truly cared for Chris because she was putting her career on the line with him. He was getting canceled by everyone in Hollywood, and she could have easily gotten herself canceled as well. It's been about 14 years since the incident, and people still get dragged for working with him. So y'all can imagine the amount of backlash that Teyana faced back then when the DV was still fresh. In fact, not only did she stick by his side, but she also publicly declared her support for him. In an interview with Vibe magazine, Teyana said, "A lot of people were jumping on different bandwagons and I really felt like that was whack. Before the incident between him and Rihanna, Chris had always been my brother. When we met, we clicked instantly, from our fashion styles to our love of basketball to dancing to everything. I've known him for 4 years and I was one of the only people that stood by his side when the situation happened." As if that wasn't enough, she also went on The Breakfast Club and announced that she was going to stick by Chris no matter what.
Me and Rihanna is cool. You understand what I'm saying? Like, well, we used to be cool. But at the end of the day, my loyalty is with my brother.
She got dragged for being a DV apologist and not being a girl's girl, and people still bring this up every single day. I kind of understand why though, because she was hella messy back then as well. She and Rihanna fell out after Teyana declared her support for Chris, and they even got into a very messy fight on Twitter. But things got out of hand when Teyana changed her Twitter header to a picture of her fighting Rihanna. But then Rihanna's picture was from when Chris had beaten her up. This was a very messed up thing to do, and it explains why people feel like Teyana was in support of Chris putting his hands on Riri. I mean, it's one thing to blindly support your friend no matter what, but then it's another thing to mock the victim openly. Her actions also ended up costing her Adidas partnership because they dropped her immediately. They also released a statement saying, "We have ended our relationship with Teyana Taylor and do not have any upcoming product launches with her. All I can say is that Adidas partners with athletes and artists who blend well with our brand values. We evaluate our relationships with partners based on the values we hold at Adidas, and we don't condone violence of any kind." Well, losing a bag was not enough to break the friendship because she and Chris remain good friends. But then everything changed last year after the AMA Awards. Chris was booked to perform a tribute to Michael Jackson during the show, and Teyana was a part of his performance. However, she ended up pulling out of the performance, and a few days later, the AMAs announced that they were canceling Chris's performance. This came after they got dragged for giving Chris a platform despite his messy past with women. An insider revealed that the higher-ups became uncomfortable with the prospect of a convicted domestic fading an alleged child on a Disney network. Yikes. Looks like his past finally came back to bite him in the back. But for some reason, insiders claim that Chris blamed Teyana for his performance being canceled. I don't know how on earth he managed to arrive at that conclusion, even though the AMAs gave a reason, but that's Chris for you. He was allegedly super convinced that Teyana has something to do with this, and in true Chris Brown fashion, he has held a grudge against her since. It's been 6 months since the drama went down. They've mostly managed to stay out of each other's way, but things got messy over the weekend when Usher threw a surprise birthday party for Chris. Like Teyana, Usher and Chris go way back, and they've publicly shown love for each other a lot of times.
I love you more.
Anywho, Usher decided to surprise Chris with the party, and he invited Teyana as well as many other celebrities. Now, Teyana being at the event would have been cool if Chris still didn't hold a grudge against her. Well, the party was going on and everybody was having fun until Chris saw Teyana and got upset. He went up to her and sources claimed that he got in her face and was being very disrespectful to her. Usher then decided to intervene because the birthday boys shouldn't be getting into fights. Well, Chris was not having none of that and he got into an argument with Usher. Chris ended up leaving the party to go outside and Usher followed him so they could sort out the drama. Well, the moment he got outside, Chris and his entourage jumped him and left him with a broken nose. Now, this part right here is wild because how on earth are you going to jump somebody who planned a party for you while the party was going on? It's just so disrespectful. It's crazy that Chris managed to blow a 6-month-old issue so out of proportion that he started beefing with Teyana, got all up in her face, and then jumped Usher. People actually believe that if Usher or anyone else hadn't intervened, Chris would have ended up putting hands on Teyana. I'm not saying I believe that he would have hit her, but his track history doesn't exactly do him any favors. Apart from the incident with Rihanna, Chris has also been exposed for putting his hands on other women. His ex, Karrueche Tran, had to file a restraining order against him because he wouldn't leave her alone even after they broke up. She claimed that he would harass her, her family, and even her friends. Oh, but that's not all, because he has also gotten aggressive with his own mom as well. While he never laid hands on her, he expressed his aggressiveness in other ways. For example, when he went to rehab for anger management after his case with Rihanna, his mom visited him and they got into an argument. According to reports, Chris's mom showed up for a family session and was urging her son to stay in the facility for extended treatment. Apparently, Chris violently disagreed with her and in a fit of anger threw a rock through the car window, shattering it. So like I said, his past isn't really doing him a lot of help, and the wild part about it is that he hates being called out for his anger issues. When people dragged Chloe Bailey for doing a collab with him, he went on a rant on Instagram saying, "If y'all still hate me for a mistake I made as a 17-year-old, please kiss my whole entire ass. I'm effing 33. I'm so tired of y'all running with this narrative. You weird people are the same ones that tune in every week to see Blueface and Krishan beat the F out of each other in front of the world. But that's okay. It's entertainment. All y'all can suck my D disrespectfully. Where are the cancel culture with these white artists that date underage women, beat the F out of their wives, giving women AIDS? First of all, he was 19, almost 20, when he put hands on Rihanna. And his altercation with Teyana kind of suggests that nothing has changed since then. But the sad part is that people aren't really on her side because of the whole thing about her being an apologist, because people feel like it's her karma. There were comments online saying, that Chris Brown, Usher, and Teyana Taylor situation is exactly what happens when you sit your A right there and hang with abusers. You're going to get your turn. Teyana Taylor being a Chris Brown apologist and then almost getting beat by him is low-key a full circle moment. And I still remember how Teyana Taylor was defending Chris Brown after the Rihanna situation, even making her avatar Rihanna's face. See how he turned on her? Sis thought it was funny until it happened to her. Nasty spirits never win. Well, it looks like Teyana has finally learned her lesson because she immediately unfollowed Chris after the whole mess went down. So does this mean that their friendship is over for good, or is Chris going to somehow work his way back into her good graces? Let me know what y'all think is going to happen next, and if you love messy videos like this one, then you're going to love the next one even more.